should have got a cough drop. Oh my goodness. But anyway, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We got some news apparently about yeah. Okay, let's just put in my. See if I can like turn this down. Hold on. Where the heck is my volume mixer? Let's turn down Chrome a bit. Okay. Yeah, I forgot the sound guys.
Fucking cheer wine.
Cheer wine exists.
Okay, now we're live.
Hello.
Alright. Let's see. So yeah, that restriction list.
Yeah, what about it? What happened? What I miss?
What the heck? First off, apparently, there are Star Wars macarons being sold.
But why?
Cause Baby Yoda ate some.
Baby Yoda is honestly just more obnoxious than Minions. I hate it. It's actually miserable. Why have we done this to ourselves, honestly?
Yeah. I know. But, okay, so.
I'm listening.
Hold on, just. What now? Okay, give me one more second. Goodness. I'll switch scenes. Alright, sorry about that. I had to discuss something. But anyway, first off, why are you not?
What if I just TOS your stream right now?
What? You can't do
I'm
that.
Kidding. I'm kidding.
First off, screw you. First off, that's some. Alright. Properties. Second off, this. Oh, okay, I see what's going on here. Here we go.
I'm ready.
Okay, so this is the English one.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because it's basically the same thing. At this point, they haven't really deviated from lists in like 4 years.
Yeah, they're making an attempt to be consistent.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, remember when there was fucking like entirely different ban lists depending on which language you're playing?
Oh, that was sick. Remember Laurel being banned in
Japanese, but not in English. Yeah.
That was great.
Yeah, I liked that time for English because then we're like, yeah, we're not the bitch.
Okay. So, you know, the card restrictions regarding cards under consideration for restriction reduces the variety of clans used in tournaments, lengthens time needed for game to extremes, will greatly affect many future cards in development, behavior that is unpleasant to encounter and requires complex methods to handle that is not by design intention, edited with the above in mind to keep the number of restrictions to a minimum.
Alright.
Those last two seem very important for what, but okay, so card restrictions. Standard, unrestricted. At your must consideration, the specific cards have been unrestricted. You may use up to 4 copies, which of Shiryuki, Dorian, and Anger Blader.
Dope.
AKA
Anger Blader has been freed from his prison.
AKA, they just basically, for the most part, got rid of the Shinimon.
Well, that's not true because Cho-Oh is still on it.
Who?
Cho-O?
Cho. Eradicator.
Yeah, that guy.
The joke went over your head, guys.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, for some reason they decided that Cho-O was too strong still, or something,
Yep.
and decided that it needed to be continue to be banned.
Yeah, I don't know, but whatever. But so how do we start this? Do we just say a lot of people have kind of looked at this list and been like, this is the worst list ever, and I'm like, it's not. But I kind of see why, because the PTSD is kicking in.
I mean,
because like these 3 cars were like freaking busted.
What did people expect to happen?
Yeah, it's almost like there's something they want to do.
Like what do they?
Hit
No. Like, what do they? No. So what? Like what do they? What were people hoping would happen with this list?
Luard and Gergwit get hit.
Okay, so here's the problem with that, right? Gergwit just came out.
Yeah.
So like.
But they didn't stop Luard.
Didn't
stop them hitting Luard.
I mean, I guess.
I mean,
yeah, but that's part of the problem, right? Is like they've hit so many things so recently.
I mean, I wouldn't say recently. They've been more consistent with like every 3 months. Like, hey, here's this. Luard, it feels like it's a lot recently because Luard was basically what everyone was already playing. So it was like, well, yeah, you hit like the best deck by separating a really good threat. Hold on. Thanks, Peter. Thank you for the follow.
Yeah, thank you, Peter. Thank you, Peter Booty Eater.
I was not getting caught in that genjutsu. You best believe that. But so man, I really need to get that cough drop and extra water, but couldn't find time.
Wait, Zach, you saw the list, the Luard list by Chokan.
By what?
Chokan my dick.
Why are you all like this?
How do I kick someone out the call?
I can. 1 second.
No, don't.
Are you gonna behave yourself?
Yes, I just had to do that.
Okay.
Because
we had to have one Peter moment.
Yep.
Okay, but yeah, it's like, the issue is like Luard's a really fine card by itself, and we talked about this like a few streams back, but it's like, yeah, Luard as a collective combination of cards is just really, really strong.
Mm-hmm.
And it was even stronger if they had kept freaking Nemain in there, enabling the engine. I don't even, honestly, it's like, I feel like they could have done anything, and I think Luard would still be strong. It's just the varying levels of how hard you hit it.
I think the problem is that, like, if you don't hit Nemain, Luard's, like, insanely strong and is going to be every top. But they hit Nemain and that was still happening. So, like, what were you hoping for, I guess?
I think they were hoping for something else to get hit. Like, some people were talking about, like, well, just errata drag driver to just have the clause that Fulbranto has, which is it goes back, but you can't get a marker for the rest of the turn. So it's like you cut down the power somewhat.
Mm-hmm. I think the community just kind of looked at, like, the Riviera errata and in length, like, oh, let's just errata cards like Yu-Gi-Oh does. First off, mm-hmm.
when Yu-Gi-Oh erratas cards, they're unplayable.
And also, not only that, but when cards get errated, people don't generally like it anyways.
Yeah, no, because that means now the card is technically, in a way, like, not the same. So you need to have, like, a piece of paper on you, or you have to find a way to get, like, an updated copy by a reprint.
Oh, not just that. Not just that, but also for the purposes of reservations. It's not the same card anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the exact same, but I get what you're saying.
So it's like for example, if you changed a card, it's like if they changed Pot of Greed's effect to have like a cost, if you wanted to play unlimited, you like if there was like a tournament that was like, oh, there's no balance, well, that Pot of Greed now has a cost.
Yeah, like
Even
you
though-
know, discard a card, draw 2 cards or something like that. It's no
Yeah,
longer
and then-
Pot of Greed.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not longer that
That's why
original
in
Pot of
general-
Greed.
Yeah, originally that's what they did with Sangan and fucking
Yeah, I do because like
Witch of the Black Forest, all that.
I think
shit.
in a way like Errata should be like used as a last case scenario of we have to
Or
find
just
some way to
fucking
have
ban the
this.
card. Just fucking ban the card and get.
Like, I really hate what they did to Riviere, and the card was like, of course, very strong, right?
Mhm.
But like by erradicating it to making it like a hard once per turn, you basically made it so like that card's just useless the rest of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can never undo that now. Like it's just stuck. And I think that's the problem. Is like you've put yourself in this position yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is kind of like a very very double-edged sword, which the sword the edge pointing towards you is sharper and finer, which is like you could cut yourself before you cut your opponent. So
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Kind of metal.
So I'm just really not a fan of how they've approached this whole thing. Like, just really starting from this year, I guess. Like, so at the beginning of this year, we knew that, we knew that Excel decks were very, very, very strong.
yes,
Right. Like, Excel decks were basically insane, which was people were not terribly happy about.
Mhm.
So, yeah. So what did people do? They just started banning basically every Excel deck. They banned Tachis, they hit Narukami, they hit Merkumo, you know, and then they hit Riviere, which was like the new deck at the time. So in English, things were already starting to hurt because you basically hit a deck that came out like a month before. So people got a whole month to play Riviere, and then we had the new Vanquish. Then the Vanquisher stuff came out, but we had COVID, so no one got to play with it really, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you had what was that fucking set with Messiah and Dot X?
You okay there, Peter?
Yeah.
Okay.
Then you had Messiah and Dot X, which were like actually nutty, but it became very clear at that point that it was like, oh, you go first, you win. And like, yeah. And from then it's been kind of a just downturn, I guess, of just constantly stuff like that.
Your YouTube subscriptions.
What else?
Well,
we gonna
oh shoot, that's right. I was like, oh wait, that was on a different thing. My bad.
do? Yeah.
Oh, thank God. Imagine I got on
Yeah,
Twitter,
yeah.
then you could have hit me with the DMC.
I mean, it's on your stream right now. Of the
Yeah, I know. I just changed it back. I'm like, I don't know what I was doing.
Yeah,
I was just listening to Matt, and I just like
It's just
zoomed out.
it's like absolutely mind-boggling. And like, you know, post Silver Dust Plays is like kind of what we know as like the modern era of like how hard can you either press first turn advantage or recently with Luar just stack gifts endlessly.
Yep.
And you know that's kind of the game right now. Is how well can you use your grade 3 turn? How well can you scale? Those are the two questions that you would need to answer. So,
Yeah. It's such a weird state because like again like everyone like points back to this like, oh, this is just like what happened 3 years ago with G, and then we rebooted and it's like, and you know, as much as I like want to deny it, like it is pretty much inevitable that something's going to change, because there's no way you let this go. And then let's also talk about the fact that they also didn't touch a dang thing in premium either.
oh yeah, what premium's like. I mean.
Officially dead in tournaments.
Oh right, I forgot to mention like they hit Luard how many days after it came out?
Almost like a week or two.
If that, right? Like it was like almost. It was basically immediately.
Yeah.
And like that hurt a lot of people, at least people who were like buying cards at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Because like you basically had this thing where everyone was kind of like, oh yeah, now you're
Now you're becoming Yu-Gi-Oh, and we left to come here because it wasn't Yu-Gi-Oh.
right.
So
And that was basically that.
It's kind of weird because if I'm gonna be frank, like sometimes just like the community like discussion is kind of like this mixed bag of what people think they want from Vanguard, mostly because of how Yu-Gi-Oh was run. Because a lot of ex-Vanguard players are, a lot of Vanguard players, both current or previously, were Yu-Gi-Oh players. So it's like they've been through the ringer about like, we don't have a set list, and then bam, here you go, all your favorite cards in this deck that you bought for $1,000, gone. You can't use them anymore. Like the Dragon Rulers.
Right.
All of them got deleted. Then like the Inzectors got cut. Pendulums are still getting nerfed. Like Pendulum Magicians are still getting nerfed constantly, despite the fact that they barely topped anything.
I believe that.
We're just like, dang.
They did their damage.
No, they ain't did enough. Like, so it's like, some people, there were like debates, I remember like years ago. Heck, some I think I saw faint like almost like end of last year talking about like Bushiroad doesn't hit cards, they don't, fix their game and take care of, use the restriction list. And there's some people like, no, you shouldn't need to use the restriction list to remove stuff. And now we're at this point where like they're using the restriction list to change things, but we're still screwed. Neither side is won at this point.
They're both.
And that's just crazy.
Bushiroad's just not very smart.
I mean, it's also the fact that they didn't have testers for like half these sets and gave the stuff.
All these sets. Remember, they got rid of their tester program when they had when Chaos Breaker Dragon got leaked.
I mean, basically, yes.
6 years ago.
6 years ago,
no,
which is like,
ago.
which also is like, how are we still schmoobing for like a good 4 years before things finally just like cracked under the weight of not having true testing? Like, what happened there? But then it's like, but it's like more so like the G Boot like team was the same design team which did the gacha range stuff in Duel Masters, which is like,
right.
why would you hire those fools back? Like they basically smacked the life out of Duel Masters based on that mechanic to the point where they had to like do something to like kind of, I don't know what they did, but it's like, you gave the people who made effectively a bootleg version of the stride zone, made it worse, and you thought, you know what you should do? You should do the G era stuff. It's like, what? Were you smoking crack?
Yes.
Was Kadani like up in the hookah lounge just puffing? And like, let's do it. Oh man.
This year was wild. This year was wild for card games in general.
Yes. Mm-hmm. It's just like, man, it's like the more you look at this, it's like, just I was not expecting the level of implosion. No, I mean not just in general. That every game almost had this year.
I think that this, as like, how do I say, as a as a ban list, doesn't make the format that much worse, but it also doesn't make it that much better.
No,
The same problems are still there.
because I think you were going to go into this, but it's like the problem is what the heck what do you do that doesn't just fumble the master plan beyond beyond salvageability, right? Because we know Overdress is coming. We are 99% sure that a reboot or a major rotation is about to come.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, writing's on the wall. It's practically
It's basically right there. If they the next list is until February, where we'll more than likely have Info Overdress. We'll probably have the first set released by then. So when you look at it, they said they wanted to save it because they wanted to keep it for Jim. You're doing this again, aren't you, sis? You're
he's
Choa. Man, everybody's like, man, at least you remember Choa. Bushy did.
I mean, yeah. Why would Cho exists. Look, I think Bushi just forgot. Honestly, they just forgot that card exists.
Yeah.
That's how it is.
I mean, we're joking, but let's be honest here. If they for some reason unerrated Riviere, then we know they straight up forgot.
That'd be actually hilarious. No, they're not gonna unerrata Riviere. Look, it's because Narukami just got support. They can't unban the clan that just got support. See, you could argue that, but didn't Tachi just get support? And I would say to you, no, they did not. There was no cards in that set. Because
we'll talk.
Now, that set is completely irrelevant.
Which, I think it's time. I think it's time to finally just say it. And I think if up until this point, it was like, okay, you could debate it. But now, without a doubt, because of how it's lasting, because of how it was on release, because of the lack of power of the other three clans in that set, and because of the lasting ramifications of that set, and basically colliding into what we're seeing right here, I have to say it, VBT 10, this box in my hand, Phantom Dragon Aeon, is the worst set in Vanguard history.
Oh, easily.
Yeah.
Because
actually, it's so bad.
You made a tier 0 deck. Every other clan in there has been basically thrown on the wayside. It is easily top 5, if not the top. Let's be honest here. Because you have the 3 clans here, Tachi, Spikes, and Mega Colony.
VBT09 is pretty bad also.
VBT09?
Or GBT09. GBT09.
GBT09 wasn't good either. But
it was one with Drag Driver.
But I'm not through with why it's worse. Because you have Mega Colony, which got Ghidorah. Everyone's so oh, they're not going to screw Mega Colony because they got Waifu Ghidorah. They screwed them so hard. They screwed them so hard. You thought it was bestiality in that bitch.
Yeah, Mega Colony. Oh man, there's a lot of defenses of Ghidorah.
Now,
the deck's pretty good actually. It's really strong.
The deck is interesting. The deck is interesting because I really do like the Cradle thing. I think they were a little bit too. They put it on the weaker side, and I wish they did kind of strengthen it a bit. But it's an interesting mechanic. I remember when Chang was talking about, there's all this interesting stuff in the Rita set, but there's interesting stuff in other sets. It's just it's underpowered.
Mm-hmm.
But the boring crap is busted. Then we get Spikes over here, which I think they came out the best outside of based on the 3, they came out the best because Rising is pretty dope and it has a pretty interesting idea, but it's not Luard. And then Tachikaze basically got shafted because they somehow managed to make Gaia not only bad, but also because of the way equip gauge works.
Oh yeah, they just decided to go with the complete opposite strategy of
Yeah, because the way Crypt Gauge works, you're basically having to pray to RNGesus that some good cards got put in the bottom of your stack that you can't even see. So you don't know if you have.
You can see them actually. You just can't control it.
No, like yeah, you can see it at the top, but you can't. Like, isn't that the ruling? Like, you can't literally look at your Crypt Gauge.
No, I'm pretty sure you can look at your Crypt Gauge.
Can you?
You
Okay.
just can't choose. You just can't ever pick what cards are in there.
Yeah, this really is like you can't modify that stuff. So it's like RNG. So it's like guy basically like eats it, and then you look at your Crypt Gauge again, and you're just like, oh, I got 3 triggers.
Oh
2
man,
PGs.
calling triggers is great, but they're 15k because Gaia. Probably, but who cares?
Yeah, it's like
It's like
so. It's like effectively just like Tachikaze effectively got screwed over by its own mechanic. It didn't do anything.
why is so? Because they went from going okay, you want a stack of Crypt Gauge on dudes,
Yes.
and then the two oh no, you just need one, but you need it on everybody, and it's like well, this is a different plan, and so Sweeper's like bruh. And like it would have been so easy just to have like a similar game again, but no.
Yeah,
not
but I
allowed,
think
apparently.
they wanted to kind of do what they did with the original Gaia, which is like superior calling, eating your units, calling them back, swinging, attacking, whatnot. But they fumbled it because of the way the mechanic was set up, all the way back in set 2, in the second set ever released in V. And that's just so unfortunate. So it's like the sets other 3 trash, and then we get to Shadows, where you basically create a tier 0 deck in Luard thanks to the main. All these shops have bought the mains. Even if they were reprinted, they were still like $30. So like everyone's bought these domains. All these stores have spent their money on the main in Japan, right? Because there's not really like much of a single market here, like the way shops handle stuff like there. So like you have that, and then you get to that point of, okay, now Luard is basically like the best deck, no question, no debating. There's no, if you say otherwise, you're getting spacked in the mouth. Because you talked blasphemy on Lord Saber Lord Sama. And then they have no choice but to kind of like hit Luard somehow. So, they hit the main and Luard. Because the main proceeds to then basically kick out the Superior Ride engine, even though you still could run it. And then you just have to run pure Luard, or then have to play PBO. And PBO isn't... I mean, I fought PBO, like, it's fine, but it's like, eh? It doesn't really seem like it has the hit that Luard does. Like, you would if you lose to like a PBO versus Luard, you would only lose by the fact that you couldn't see drag hard and you couldn't scale fast enough. Because PBO is still just gonna be swinging for like 2 crit every turn, and you get so much value off of being able to drag hard to drag drive in the drag hard again, which like every time you do that you just scale with the amount of pluses you get, deck thinning, whatnot. So it's like there should be dead at a certain point. So there's that. And so when they cut, when they made that the main lore restriction, all those stores got burnt that bought up all those domains, because now those domains, and remember, we didn't know that clan selection 1, or was it clan section 2? Whichever clan section that the shadows are in, which they would get the witches. We didn't know at the time that was even coming. So, understanding that their overdress is coming, this is probably the last support wave Shadows is going to get for this era. So, in that sense, looking at how everything was, the main would topple, despite being one of the best cards in that clan. It just fell down and down and down and down, and oh my goodness. It just
Yeah.
burned all those shops because they just negged so hard. They negged harder than your locals in a K-split. For VBT
K-splits are
11.
almost always a
For
mistake.
VBT 11, which have you seen those prices? Most of those
No, I've
VRs are $2.
Sick.
Like the biggest VR I think right now is let's see, TCG player.
And like usually games have like some chase card of some kind, but it's kind of just not the case.
So if you look at VBT Storm Blue Cavalry, let's see,
Super
market
wacky.
high to low, taking away all the reprints and SPs. The highest card in this set that isn't an SP or a quick shield or like anything is Shiranui Oboro at $9.
Incredible.
And then the next big VR that is, the next VR that isn't that is Victor at $265.
What?
Yes, you could pick up Victor for, you can basically pick up the entire Victor core. Like, you get your Cool Hanks, you get your Alshids, and Victor, and I think, what was it, the other card? I don't think it's, in Dual Sledge. You could probably pick that up for like 40 bucks. And you got yourself a deck. It's not a good deck, but you got a deck. Or you could just buy the Blaukugler stuff, which Galaxy is $4, or Stern. And
Well, that stuff is, like, Interesting.
Stern is 37 cents. And you probably have a stronger deck with $2.
What the fuck, dude?
You for $20 you have a stronger deck than your $30 variant. That's crazy.
Honestly, incredible.
So, like, that's how bad. Like, VBT 10 screwed VBT 11, and that's before we saw the card reveals. Cause like they still weren't like hidden, right? Isabel is a struggle. So it was like, oh my goodness, what done happened here? So, looking at how VBT 11 happened with this, just everything became a mess. And that's so unfortunate. So it's like, it had ramifications for 11, and then 12 happened, which I say 12 is very similar to 9, with the exception of Gurglet. Because I think all those decks in there are pretty decent. I think they're fine if, like, I mean, they're not that level, but like, they're more all inconsistent level. And then you get Gurglet, which, Gurglet, like, if you're doing like pure stuff from that booster, I think it's fine. I think Percival is still like a busted grade 3. And I really, I think the only thing that really, yeah. So I think also the other like difference between any of the other decks and Gurglet is that Gurglet has a defensive thing built in, right? You get to call Counterblast 1 to, like, if you're in a pinch, to Counterblast 1 to potentially top 5 for a PG. Which is like, that's what the original was trying to do. It's just, the original didn't have an Excel marker, didn't give you an Excel marker, and its check top skill was just so, like, expensive for just a call 1. It was a kind of a Solus 1 for a call 1 in a clan that didn't really have countercharge at the time. And still didn't really get as efficient as it needed to. Oh wait, that's right. You needed to counterblast 1 Solus 1 for his defensive skill and counterblast 1 for his offensive skill. So you couldn't really use his defensive skill, so it's just bad. So it's like, now they finally just merged the two together. And like, that's really like what I think the biggest thing is. Like, Gurg could just scale, and has the ability to just like stop defensive plays, stop offensive plays for your opponent, and create offensive plays for you. So, that's the only other, like, real problem child. And so then we get to the point of, like, well, why wasn't Girkwood hit if it's, like, the second best deck next to Luard, and Luard is the best set next to Luard, and Luard's our problem. And, that comes all the way back to that main Luard hit. You do that again? If they did that again, everything falls apart. Like, there is no more Vanguard. Effectively, there is no more Vanguard. Because you would have to then, like, pray that, they would have to, like, put all their hopes on Overdress. And if you've just seen what has happened, you're only as good as your last release. Or something like that. You're only as good as your last. And if you've had metas where your best decks are so good that they take out everyone else, and then you have to hit each within a 2 to 3 month span? Nah. Like, no one's going to do that. Like, no one's just going to effectively do that, and, no one wants to buy into your game if 2 out of 3 sets you've had tier 1, tier 0 decks.
That's not. I don't think that's quite true, but like, it makes it less likely whenever you just ban them whenever you feel like it.
Yeah, it's like if you emergency ban, like this is what people talk about. Like, oh,
people still play Yu-Gi-Oh through awful formats.
Yeah, but then again, like, it is becoming very, very painfully obvious that the Vanguard community is kind of like getting sick and tired, or at least the section that we're in, that we've seen.
Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh has the sunk cost fallacy thing where people just think they're so far in. So.
Yeah.
It's like whatever.
It's my childhood, right? It's like, I remember playing with the Egyptian gods in the schoolyard. Finding trouble, never looking too hard. And so, there's a lot with Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, I still have, like, inklings of, like, I want to be able to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Comfortably. And that's just kind of sad, because, like, I can't really do that, because decks are really expensive Yu-Gi-Oh! And it's just like, it's just, it's a thing. And I don't want to go into that right now. But, so it's like, we come into this list, which was already scheduled before Luard was even released. Like, since, what was that? The Fronger hit? Yeah, it was the Fronger and the, what other card? The hard leg restrictions that came through. Fronger hard leg came through. They said, okay, next list will be in November. And then Luard happened, and they had no choice but to emergency hit. And so, if they came to this list, which was already there, knowing that literally just a month ago we already had another list, and they hit a top deck again, which is making these stores their money, there's no way in hell that Bushiroad comes out this with any, like, good, like, PR. At least in the TCG side. Zero is basically untouchable at this point because they've got the power of HoloLive.
Apparently.
So as long as HoloLive's around, like, Zero will still stay alive. So it's disregarded from this discussion. So, like, the only other thing they do is just release more crazy into the wild. Like, Shiryuki was one of the biggest defensive cards. Right? It was used so much as a defensive strategy because it just helped you be able to guard, like, hard power turns. So, Zero's the perfect 2020 emergency plan. I mean, zero like Xenozard came out at the best time, where everybody's stuck at home. Like, man, I want to play some card games, but I can't play, online. Hey, here you go. Here's nostalgia on your phone app. But so when we look at Shiryu,
I don't know anyone who plays it anymore.
huh?
Xenonzard.
Oh, Xenozard, I go in like every now and again, which is kind of sad because I really like playing that game, but it's just like, I don't know, it just didn't stay as much as I thought it would. So I'm just kind of like, so it's kind of this unfortunate thing of, I haven't really like stuck to it like Ching had at the time. What? Oh, it's okay, good. Okay, so
You know, Pokemon Go has done really well this year.
yeah,
Despite, they basically put a bunch of things where you could sit it in your couch and play it.
Oh,
And so it did better than
Yeah.
it normally did because you could sit on your couch and play it.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
really all
Yeah,
people
look at-
want.
But look at that. See that pizza, dude.
that looks like
It's like somebody just took a shit on top of it.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
It looks
It's
great.
Orange, not brown. It's orange, not brown.
Yeah, but it
what
looks
even
great.
is that?
Buffalo chicken pizza.
Is that ranch
That's
though?
buffalo.
I could do
Yeah,
without
that's
that.
ranch.
I could
That's
do that.
buffalo sauce.
Yeah, ranch.
it's
ranch
buffalo
is
sauce.
ranch is pretty.
It might be
good.
your phone because that looks so.
It's the lighting.
I'm not.
It's
I'm not
very
white
pale
enough. I'm not
lighting.
white enough to drown my pizza in ranch.
It's very pale lighting. It's not very diffuse.
Yeah,
Actually, no,
it
is
ain't
pretty
ain't doing
diffuse,
that
actually, but
the pizza a good
also
job.
pale sunlight.
It ain't doing that pizza any wonders. So, all right, back to what I was saying. What were you saying? You damn Peter! You got
I'm
us all
sorry,
on.
man, I was just-
It's fine. I'm fine. So we get to we're here. We're at this list, and they can't really touch. It's like they touch Luard. They can't really touch Luard because I don't know really what you couldn't hit in that deck that just doesn't like outright just make it unplayable. Like you could maybe get rid of like the grade 1 that becomes a 20k when you have 5 rear guards, or you could get you probably could like cut Morpheus down to 2 or something. Like you could do like small hits, but it's like, does it really matter when like Luard sells a toolbox and it still can like move faster enough to make sure you can still use those? I don't know. I don't know what you would really hit with Luard now, which is the problem. Then you also have Gurgwit, which just came out, and obviously the hit there is obviously Wonder Wrestle, because Wonder Wrestle just like it extends plays, and Gurgwit just like enables everything to get so much power as the game goes on. So like, it enables more plays. Then you have Percival. It's like so you could do a choice between Gurgwit and Percival, but then like Gurgwit kind of like drops off, and then Percival doesn't really have like a deck to use because his only other choices Agravain or Ezel, and Ezel doesn't already has a bunch of cards it needs, and Agravain is like its only other choice, and Agravain isn't that great to begin with. So it's like you basically murder if you get rid of Percival, and in Wonder Ezel you can't do because you just did that with the main, and Shop's already in like Wonder Ezel's like already like going higher and higher, so it's like you can't really do that. You can't do that again, is what I'm saying. So they can't touch the 2 best decks right now because doing so ruins the overdress plan.
Whatever that is.
Yeah, whatever that is. But at least we know it's carved by Vanguard, unlike a Gate Ruler.
But we don't know anything about that, to be honest.
I mean, we think we know.
I mean, people. Yeah. It's just really bizarre to have a game that's coming out very soon that people know almost nothing about. It's great. Makes me feel really confident that this game will be good. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of hate it, honestly.
it's very just like I don't trust you. Like I don't trust Gate Ruler and I don't trust Bushiroad right now. At least the Vanguard division. So the only other thing they really could do is like, what are they gonna do? Hit hit Hardy, hit
Deck doesn't
Charlotte,
matter. Decks are relevant. They're also irrelevant.
or it was
Deck's too inconsistent.
Night Rose, Yasui.
Like Yasui gained a lot from this because of Shiryuki being at 4. You can now like more consistently double Shiryuki.
Yeah. Which I'm not sure
like-
you would even run Shiriki at 4. I just think there's like so much.
I mean, people didn't
you-
run at 4 before. People
you-
ran at 3,
I mean,
even with Hyuga.
you're gonna run definitely more than one copy, without a doubt. That's
But
just,
she now has not. She now has non-hit skill. She did not before.
yeah. She can activate be a Vanguard now.
Yeah, she gained a second skill somehow.
Yeah.
Like Dorian upgrade's good, but like Harry is like a really full deck. Like you don't have a lot of
like,
space.
you don't have a
deck.
lot of space for that. And then Silverthorns, they literally just released Venus, which was literally supposed to be like a it was supposed to like take the place of Dorian. But it's like obviously when's the last time you see a Silverthorn deck?
Yeah, basically never. That deck sucks.
And then now we get to Tachi's and
Yeah, Tachi's pretty much just playing Anger Blader now with the with Prison Bird.
it
You just dig. Probably Anger Blader's the only grade 3 as usual.
hold on, I forgot. Where's
Because
the
why write
order?
anything else?
Where's the order? I forget.
Oh no, I don't think you need to play that anymore. Why do you need to play Bangle?
Because
Like you played Bangle when you had 1 Anger Blader because you needed to dig harder.
well, I think you still do because I think it's still like
You don't need to play 12 draws anymore.
I mean,
You have 4 Anger Bladers in your deck.
yeah, you have 4 Anger Bladers, but you also need to get Sweeper.
Yeah,
You
that's
don't really have a
fine.
way to grab that, so I think you could play some level of the order. Like it's not officially completely kicked out the deck just because Anger Blader came back.
I mean, the same was true before. You not only needed Anger Blader, you also needed Sweeper. But I'm not saying you even need to play the order. Like,
Yeah, I'm just saying like the consistency level for Tachikaze now than what it was in the past is so much bigger.
yeah.
So it's like Anger Blader. I think Anger Blader is the only one in this list. I'm just like I don't like the fact that it's back, but because of the absolute dumpster state the Tachikaze is in, it has to. There's nothing else they can do.
Is so bad.
They have nothing else to do until they get the clan section stuff, and then we don't know what it's going to do. So it's kind of
Anger Blader when they first hit it was like, oh, this deck's actually just dead. Like you actually just can't play this deck anymore. Like it's gone. Like people were memeing with 1 Anger Blader back then, but with the second set when you had Solid of Bangle and Prison Bird, you had a way to like try to dig for the 1 Anger Blader.
Yeah, so
along
like,
with Lacerator
so like
and
that
like
deck wasn't-
Lacerate X. And it wasn't good, but you found Anger Blader in 1 some games here and there.
Yeah. Now it's just like if you don't find Anger Blader, if you don't find Anger Blader, just something's gone wrong. Like something has just completely gone wrong. You have the Prison Bird, you have draw triggers,
It's back to like the old deck, right? Where you just like have huge guys and you have
it's basically
access
old.
to a million.
It's old deck plus, which to me is kind of like if they hadn't screwed over guys bad, I don't think we'd bring Anger Blader back. I think Anger Blader is only the problem of VBT 10, which is also why I say it's one of the worst sets of all time. Because it had no choice but to bring Anger Blader back. Right here. This MFer should not be back. He's really too powerful, but because there's nothing else, and the game has evolved to a state where he is basically on par with everything else. Like, oh my goodness. Like, I know Franz was like, I don't want Shiryuki back, but like, I'm still, and like, Nuno's like, oh, Shiryuki at 4 is completely like busted. Oh, Jesus Christ.
I actually said yesterday that I thought that Shiryuki would probably go to on the ban list. I thought Shiryuki would go to 4, and I said I thought they would put Anger Blader to 2. So I think my statement was they'll probably free Cho-Oh, free Shiryuki, put Anger to 2, and like I guess at this point you might as well free Dorian because who cares?
Oh,
And apparently a lot of that happened.
hey,
And
3
then
out of 4
except
ain't bad.
they didn't act. They didn't act. Well, so no, well, it was actually 2 out of 4, right? Because I didn't mention, because I didn't really mention. Well, I guess because I got Anger wrong technically, right? And then they didn't do Cho.
Yeah.
So like they just forgot about Cho, and then they put Anger to 4, and I was like, what? Okay, that's not what I would have done. But yeah. But here we are. So gonna jam some Anger later.
Yeah. So I'm looking. So I think we
fuck it.
spent a bunch of time talking about like everything that came off, and I think I'm I like Murakumo. I like Murakumo in standard. So having Shiryuki back is probably fine, especially since she's getting her cross ride and probably is needed there. So her back's fine. Dorian, I think, is just kind of. I want to see what Silverthorn players do, but I don't think Silverthorns as a
I don't think
deck.
Silverthorn players exist, so it doesn't matter.
I mean, different fight exists, but like Silverthorns as a deck, I have to see like if they come back, because Dorian still did give so much advantage. But I don't know if that advantage means anything in face of like Luard and what you call it. I'm still not sure Shuriki's being running at 4. I feel especially in Yasuye, I feel like you would have to like restructure that whole deck to put in 4 Shiryuki, the 8 Yasues you need. Then you have what's it call it? Homeboy Noodle. And then have enough room to have grade 1s and 2s that you can actually play to make sure you don't like.
Look, they've done it before, man.
Not die. I mean, I know, but it's like now it's like it's arguably harder. So that's why I'm like.
No, I think it's not that bad actually. You just play the good cards and you can remove some of the bad ones. And also the Shiryuki engine just looks less bad now.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of like. What was I? I had to relook at my deck builds to see what I can do. Now I can put them back in. So this and an Anger Blader is basically Tajikaze's only hope, and that's unfortunate. So that was everything there. They didn't touch anything in premium, which I'm kind of like the memes of Castile surviving the ban list again is still true. So let's look back at like, okay, so what has changed? So what is still on the list now? That's for standard at least. So that's still there. Standard Murakumo Shiryuki, that's now gone. Same with Anger Blader. Cho still a 2, which no one is really playing Cho anymore. Hardleg is still on there, and I don't think he's ever gonna come off, especially with if.
All right, there's still that choice restriction also.
And then.
Wait, is Dorian still banned and it's still restricted in premium, but only came off in standard? Incredible.
Because I think the issue is more so like, it was time, and I think because premium has a bunch of stuff, like it could still.
Nightcrow and Nightrunner are still on the restriction, still on the ban list.
Yep.
That's actually hilarious.
Which is kind of questions like, how does this work now?
Yeah, no, I forgot they existed.
And then Flinger's still there, which he can stay there. Stay your ass there.
Yeah, no, they could just designate which Castile they're restricting. It's not really a problem.
Yeah, Flinger basically just like free damage, and like that's just.
Or they could only restrict it in premium, and then it doesn't matter to have the V-Era counterpart.
Yeah, so BT, everything is premium except the errata for Riviere.
Yep. Oh, Elizabeth is still restricted.
Yeah, Elizabeth's still restricted, and Katrina is still there. That's
yeah, good.
Laura's still restricted 1.
Yep, Commander Laurel
and
being restricted to 1 in premium is actually bizarre.
So yeah, OTT still has some things. Ezel. See, Angel Feather still has Refro sealed away. So there's still some things that I think could come off. Like I think.
Oh, easily.
Like Lisbeth can come off. Like some of the Nightcrawler Night Runner, I think could come off, or at least get like bumped back up or something. Because at least like they have new versions and they're probably better. I don't know. I forgot what the cards did. But yeah, so Lisbeth can come back. Katrina can stay with her behind there. Anj is like a new. What was the name of the Anj, right? That was just revealed
Perfect
today.
performance Anj. Perfect performance Anj.
Oh, okay, that's his stride name. Okay, so the Light Genius is there. I think you can bring her back.
Bermuda.
Yeah, this is just.
Yeah, no, she didn't really need to be hit to begin with.
Yeah,
You can
Anj
bring that card- you can
could
bring that
probably
card back.
come back now. Like I think
It doesn't even matter if you bring it back, unfortunately. Like, you just bring it back to bring it back.
Crook. Oh, the stand trigger. I was like, who? Oh yeah, the stand trigger Bermuda. That probably could like get bumped up to 2 or something. And like Ellie is oh good god no. Ellie is the problem of like it was balanced like it can be used with just one effectively well, and then you have this PG Aqua, which just makes it like basically like a pure PG. So I don't know what they could do with Ellie to bring her back, like, but like you know, Bermuda's defensive stuff is just gone now because she's still there. So and then you know we talked about what isn't there. We talked about you know basically like Wonder Ezelden making in there. You know, Luard doesn't really. We don't know.
Well,
what
Wonder Ezel is in there, but just not on
the new one. Like standard Ezel, standard Wonder, and then so it's like that's just.
No, I really just don't think you can hit golds so soon. It would be pretty disastrous. I think you just have to put up with the bad format that you've created for yourself.
I mean, you're not wrong about the Castile thing, right? Since the game's V-Series counterpart, but Castile V would have to do something really, really like wild for it to really make it like, oh, it's V-Series part is here, so now you can use it with a stride counterpart, and it's like, no one cares. Let's be perfectly honest. I'm gonna probably say this, and like, I don't mean to. I don't know why I take this tangent, but like, excuse me, water. If I take this tangent, I'll say this. The issue with the here's the thing. Like, I'm trying to figure out how to word this. I guess we just like subject to like the fact that since Silver Dust, there's literally been no reason. I find it funny, like we've all talked about like how the anime controls how you know the clans get distributed and whatnot, which is funny because the anime has had no card games. You can't use that thing anymore, and arguably, in fact, you know what? I wasn't believing that. It's like, no, that's not how it was. Now it's like after we've gone through all of, we've gone through all that, I'm believing now. Holy cow! I'd say like the distribution since what should we call it? The distribution of the clans since the next stage was actually been pretty fine in comparison to how the rest of Vanguard is gone. Right, like there's been no real duplicates since next stage. Every clan has gotten just its wave. Here it is. You get multiple decks in that wave or something of that. You get buffs or other variants. You know, now the varying qualities that is like the question, right? But it's like, you know, I'd say at least if there's one thing that's gone right this year, it's the fact that every clan got their wave of support.
I mean,
the problem is the power of the support.
That's the same problem we had before, though. Like, back in G era, people would get their one wave of support once a year, and sometimes that support would be trash, and that clan would be trash.
Yeah.
Like Meg Colony dealt with this for a long time. Meg Colony had it worse even before G era, but like the same thing was happening to Murakumo. Same thing was happening to so many other clans. Like
Yeah.
it just because like you get your guaranteed support once a year.
Does
The
not make it
problem
good.
is that some clans were getting like 3 times the support as you,
and
and that
also
was a
that
problem
one,
I hope they would
not to
fix.
mention that one wave could also just end up being dumpster juice.
Mhm.
So
They're
it's like
just doomed.
you literally had negative cards, while everyone else gets like a roster looking like Blaze Blue Cross-Sag Battle. So yeah. I'm just saying, like, if the way things have gone is like, I think that's what everyone kind of wished happened at the start of V. Is like, we do this whole line of here's your wave, your wave, your wave, your wave. We just go down the ladder until we circle back. But there's story reasons why we couldn't have that, right? We had Logic and Light and Logic, which wasn't really good because the Royal Pound stuff wasn't good. The Link Joker stuff wasn't good. Like the Kagero and Nova Grappler stuff was fine, and it worked there because Kagero and Nova Grappler hadn't gotten support at all up till that point, and they were the first ones up. So it was like they kind of got a pass because they had been waiting long. But then, like, there were the issues of, like, Gear Chronicle, right? Gear Chronicle, Great Nature, and Genesis. It took so long for them to get their second wave. The fact that, like, Great Nature was, like, kind of there was a miracle. So, it is a real issue of, like, how Bushiroad handles their writing, their story writing, and then how it transitions to the just how their system is transitions, and it's really not great. Like, again, not trying to really bring in, not trying to intentionally praise Yu-Gi-Oh here, but like one of the things it does is like some of the cards that are used in the anime you don't see until the next for like a good 3 months. Because that's how their system works. Like, everybody, you get some archetype support, you get generic support, whatever. You get in one booster. You don't get a specialized booster just for this one 5-episode story arc that you couldn't fit in. Oh, something. Yes.
I don't know, man. This ban list will be interesting, I guess.
Yeah, how I'm really interested in like how it plays out. So I think at the end of the day, it's like I don't know if this could be really good, this could be really bad. We don't know. It all depends on how the rest is, and also the issue of we have no tournament, so we can't even tell if it's gonna be good or bad. So we're just kind of screwed here. Okay then, so
yeah, I don't have too much more to say on it, honestly.
Yeah,
and I have to talk about it a lot more later. So
yeah,
I'm not gonna.
We're gonna like seal off there. So okay, well, we're done with that. So I think this technically counts as my Friday stream. So
Does it?
basically, I wanted to like. I mean, I still might stream on Friday, but like, I definitely want to. I would definitely want to do like a stream early for before the holiday. But
I see.
I definitely do want to like actually stream like a long session of whatever tomorrow. So
mash it out.
I'll cut it here. I'll like put this on YouTube and whatnot, and then we'll and then I'll see everybody tomorrow. So thank y'all for coming out. I appreciate it. You know, join the Discord if you want, and I'll see y'all tomorrow, I guess. So, have a good night.